The Man Who Carried Winter. Arthur lived in a world of gray. The sky was gray, the buildings were gray, and even the laughter of children seemed to fade to a dull gray hum in his ears. He carried winter in his heart, a cold and bitter season that never ended. One day, a street musician with a joyful tune and a hat full of dreams set up his violin on a corner Arthur often passed. The melody was a splash of color in the gray air, but Arthur only scowled. "Such noise," he muttered, "a pointless distraction from the inevitable silence." At the local market, a baker offered Arthur a warm, freshly baked roll, a gift from the morning's batch. Arthur refused it with a wave of his hand. "It will only go stale," he said, leaving the baker with a crestfallen look and a warm roll growing cold. Back in his gray apartment, Arthur stood before a mirror. He saw a man with eyes as cold and hard as frozen puddles. He didn't like the man in the mirror. He didn't respect him, and so he had no respect to give to the world. A small, scruffy dog with one floppy ear and a hopeful wag in its tail began to follow Arthur. He shooed it away, but the dog, undeterred, kept a respectful distance, its hopeful eyes never leaving him. The dog followed him all the way to his gray front door. It didn't bark or whine, but simply sat, a small, hopeful presence in the vast gray emptiness. With a sigh that seemed to carry the weight of all his winters, Arthur opened a can of soup and poured it into a bowl for the dog. The dog, whom he called Shadow, became his constant companion. In the quiet of his gray apartment, Arthur found himself talking to the dog, the words tumbling out in a torrent of long-held sadness and anger. Shadow would listen, his floppy ear perked, offering a comforting presence in the silence. One afternoon in the park, a little girl, no older than 5, tripped and fell near Arthur's bench. He instinctively reached out and helped her up. The little girl, with tears in her eyes, gave him a wobbly smile. "Thank you," she whispered. The girl's mother rushed over, her face a mixture of concern and relief. "Thank you so much," she said to Arthur, her voice warm and sincere. For the first time in a long time, Arthur felt a warmth spread through his chest, a thaw in his internal winter. That evening, Arthur looked in the mirror again. He saw the same man, but something had changed. The ice in his eyes had begun to melt, and in their depths, a tiny, fragile seed of kindness had begun to sprout. He had given a little of what he had, and in doing so, had found something he thought he had lost forever.